"Don't touch my car!" Billionaire Marcus Sterling shouted at the homeless black man, not knowing this stranger would save his $4.2 million hypercar and change everything. Smoke poured from the Quantum Apex's engine as tech titan Marcus frantically dialed his phone. Nobody answered. The crowd grew. The proprietary engine continued its death rattle. "Sir, your quantum thrust cooling system has a micro-fracture in the secondary loop," said the disheveled man, approaching with hands raised. "I can fix it." Marcus's finger hovered over the security number. How could this man know about technology so classified the manufacturer wouldn't acknowledge it existed? David Thompson hadn't always lived on the streets. 3 years ago, he designed revolutionary cooling systems that transformed aerospace technology. Now, he slept under the open sky, invisible to tech executives who rushed past without a glance. MIT graduate, 3 engineering degrees, holder of 7 patents that generated millions for companies that no longer acknowledged his existence. The irony wasn't lost on David that he could recite complex thermodynamic equations, but couldn't get past a hiring manager's prejudiced gaze. This morning, David noticed something wrong with the hypercar before it pulled to the curb. The sound was off, a subtle irregularity only someone intimately familiar with its design would recognize. The microfracture was developing exactly where the original blueprints had predicted weakness. David had flagged this in his report years ago, but executives eager to meet production deadlines had brushed aside his warnings. Marcus had just ended another fruitless call when David stepped forward. "Sir, I know what's wrong with your car. Your quantum thrust cooling system has a microfracture in the secondary loop." "Step back from the vehicle, please," Marcus said, not looking David in the eye. His voice carried practiced authority of someone used to being obeyed. "Sir, I really can't help," David persisted. "That specific model has a known issue with the quantum thrust cooling system." "How would you know anything about this car?" Marcus cut him off, taking in the worn clothes, unkempt appearance, the reusable grocery bag containing David's worldly possessions. "Because I helped design the prototype cooling system it's based on." Laughter escaped Marcus's lips. "Right, and I'm teaching rocket science on weekends." David didn't move. "The fracture is causing coolant to leak into the tertiary chamber, which is why you're getting that specific shade of blue-gray smoke. If it continues, you'll have catastrophic engine failure in approximately 47 minutes. Marcus froze. The smoke was indeed blue-gray, and the diagnostic system had given him a 45-minute warning. A sleek SUV pulled up. 2 security guards emerged. "Is there a problem, Mr. Sterling?" asked the taller guard. "This gentleman was just leaving," Marcus replied coldly. "I know the Quantum Apex uses a modified aerotech cooling system," David said quickly. "I know it has a design flaw identified in prototype stage but ignored due to production pressures. Internal memo XT447 documents the exact issue I'm describing." Marcus's face showed recognition at the memo number. That was proprietary information never made public. "You mentioned memo XT447. How do you know about that?" "Because I wrote it 5 years ago when I was consulting engineer at Aerotech. My name is David Thompson." Marcus checked his watch. Manufacturer's roadside assistance was at least 2 hours away. His investor meeting couldn't be rescheduled. "What exactly would you need to fix it?" "Basic tools from your emergency kit. 20 minutes of uninterrupted work." The security guard ran David's ID, returning with a grim expression. "No current address, no employment records for 3 years, some kind of incident at his last job." Marcus's face hardened. "I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. My team will handle this." His phone rang. Marcus's expression fell as he listened. 2 hours? That's not acceptable. David stood quietly watching as the billionaire's options dwindled. "There won't be a fire," David interjected calmly as guards discussed clearing the area. "The smoke is coolant vaporizing against thermal shielding. The real concern is damage to quantum thrust bearings, which will cost approximately $870,000 to replace if they fail completely. How do you know the exact replacement cost? Because I helped calculate the original manufacturing specifications. The bearings use proprietary alloy requiring specialized fabrication. Only 2 facilities worldwide can produce them. Lead time is 11 weeks. Marcus's skepticism warred with growing curiosity. If you're who you say you are, why are you homeless? False accusations, corporate politics, racial bias, but your car has approximately 35 minutes before permanent damage occurs and I can fix it. One security guard suddenly spoke up. Sir, I think I recognize this man. He volunteers at West Side Shelter, teaches engineering to kids there. Show me, Marcus finally said. Not the actual repair, just explain what's happening. David approached cautiously, beginning detailed explanation without touching the vehicle. The quantum thrust system uses 3-tier cooling. The microfracture here is allowing nano-coolant to leak into the tertiary chamber where it's vaporizing on contact with thermal shielding. Marcus's astonishment grew as David described exact components, positions, and metallurgical properties that only someone intimately familiar with the system would know. Factory repair protocol requires complete disassembly because they assume worst-case contamination. But with this leak pattern, we can isolate the affected section, apply thermal bond sealant to the fracture, and restore functioning. Without disassembly. Where would you get thermal bond sealant? David smiled slightly. Your emergency kit contains basic sealant. Combined with nanoparticle-infused graphite from specific pencil lead at that convenience store, we can create makeshift version that will hold until proper repair. You're going to fix my multi-million-dollar hypercar with pencil lead? Graphite with specific density and particle distribution, combined with your emergency sealant under precise conditions. Engineering is solving problems with available resources. Marcus checked the time. 28 minutes until critical failure. If you damage my car, it's already damaged and getting worse. The question is whether you'll let me help before it's too late. Marcus took a deep breath and reached for the hood release. The hood rose with pneumatic hiss, revealing advanced technology. David approached methodically, scanning the engine compartment. I'll need your emergency kit, he said. Marcus retrieved the carbon fiber case. David assessed contents quickly. This will work. One of your guards needs to get Stedler Mars Lumograph 8B grade pencils specifically. As the guard departed, David organized tools with precise, economical movements betraying years of professional experience. The microfracture should be visible once I remove this access panel, Thomas explained, selecting a specialized tool. How long did you work at Aerotech? 3 years as lead thermal engineer, 2 as consultant, before the incident that ended my career there. What incident? David paused briefly. Prototype failure was blamed on my team. Investigation later proved it was management overriding our safety protocols, but by then, reputation damage was done. A sharp voice cut through their conversation. What the hell is going on here? A tall man in expensive suit pushed through the crowd, flanked by more security guards. His ID badge identified him as Executive Security for Tech Horizon. Mr. Sterling, we received reports of someone tampering with your vehicle. Our CEO asked me to provide immediate assistance. Reynolds, thank you, but the situation is under control. This gentleman is helping with emergency repair. Reynolds' gaze swept dismissively over David. Sir, our security protocol prohibits unauthorized individuals from accessing proprietary technology. He knows what he's doing, Marcus insisted. With respect, Mr. Sterling, this vehicle contains technology worth millions in intellectual property. I'm not just anyone, David interjected quietly, continuing his work. And we have approximately 18 minutes before irreversible damage occurs. Reynolds stepped closer. Sir, I need you to step away now. Reynolds, please, Marcus began. Mr. Sterling, we've had 3 industrial espionage attempts this quarter. How do you know this isn't another one? The seed of doubt began to grow again in Marcus's mind. His reputation, investors, company security protocols, all suddenly at risk. "I think perhaps we should wait for the manufacturer's team," Marcus said, confidence draining. David looked up, expression perfectly composed despite renewed dismissal. "In 15 minutes it will be too late. Please step away or we'll be forced to remove you," Reynolds addressed David directly. David slowly put down tools and straightened. "Mr. Sterling, I understand your position, but that is the quantum stabilization unit. In approximately 14 minutes, leaked coolant will reach critical temperature and cause cascade failure. When that happens, you won't just need new bearings. You'll need an entirely new engine core. 3 months minimum." Marcus hesitated, visibly torn. "Mr. Sterling, we've called the police. This man has no credentials, no identification, no authorization." The car's diagnostic system chimed. "Warning, 12 minutes to critical system failure." "Mr. Sterling, make one call to verify who I am," David said boldly. "Call Dr. Eleanor Chen at Space Tech Industries. Tell her David Thompson is here." "Dr. Eleanor Chen, the chief engineer at Space Tech?" Marcus asked, surprised. David nodded. "Tell her I'm here. She'll confirm everything." Marcus scrolled through his contacts and placed the call. "This is Marcus Sterling. I apologize for the unexpected call, Dr. Chen, but I have an unusual situation. There's someone here who claims to know you. Says his name is David Thompson." Marcus's eyes widened as he listened. "Yes, he's right here. Would you mind if I put you on speaker?" "David? David Thompson? Is that really you?" The voice through the speaker was clear, professional, tinged with disbelief. "Hello, Eleanor," David replied, small smile softening his features. "It's been a while. 3 years, 4 months, and approximately 22 days. You disappeared completely. We looked for you. It's a long story. Marcus, do you understand who you're speaking with? David Thompson is the most brilliant thermal engineer I've ever worked with. His quantum cooling designs revolutionized our industry. We still use his patents in our latest spacecraft." Marcus's astonishment grew. "He claims he can fix my quantum apex." "If David says he can fix it, then he can fix it. He probably designed the system your car is based on. Aerotech licensed his patents for their automotive division after he left." The diagnostic system chimed again. "Warning, 9 minutes to critical system failure." "Marcus," Dr. Chen's voice was deadly serious. "Let David fix your car. He's probably the most qualified person on the planet to do it. I trust him with technology worth billions." Marcus looked at David with new eyes. "I don't understand. If you're who she says you are, how did you end up homeless? False accusations, racial profiling, a system quick to condemn and slow to exonerate. Once you fall through cracks with no address, no phone, no credit score, try getting back up. But we can discuss social inequities after we save your car." "Reynolds, stand down. Dr. Chen, thank you." "Wait," Dr. Chen said quickly. "David, when this is over, call me immediately. We have positions waiting for you. Always have." "I'll consider it," David replied. "Goodbye, Eleanor." Marcus ended the call. "I owe you an apology." "You owe me the chance to finish what I started," David corrected, already moving back toward the engine compartment. "And those pencils your guard is holding." The diagnostic system warned, 6 minutes to critical system failure. "I need complete concentration for this next part," David said. "The application must be precise, and I'll have only one attempt." The next 5 minutes passed in tense silence. David worked with methodical precision, while the crowd of nearly 50 people watched with held breath. "Almost there," David murmured. "The microfracture is sealed. Now I need to vent contaminated coolant and restore system pressure." A thin stream of iridescent fluid drained into a container he'd fashioned from the emergency kit's case. "Is that the nanocoolant?" Marcus asked. "Yes, approximately $20,000 worth. We're saving about 60%, which is more than I expected." The diagnostic alert chimed. Warning: 2 minutes to critical system failure. David continued working steadily, now refilling the system. Standard formulation. Not ideal for the secondary loop, but it will allow safe operation until you can get specialized nanocoolant replaced. Keep engine output below 70%. 30 seconds remaining, the system warned. David made one final adjustment, then secured the access panel. Start the engine. Are you sure? Start the engine, David repeated with quiet authority. Marcus pressed ignition. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the hypercar came to life with a high-pitched ched whine that modulated to a deep, powerful purr. No smoke emerged. The diagnostic screen displayed system stabilizing, quantum thrust cooling functional, performance limited to 70% capacity, service recommended. Spontaneous cheers erupted from the crowd. Marcus stared at the readout in disbelief. That's impossible. The manufacturer said this repair couldn't be done in the field. The manufacturer overcomplicates things to maintain their service monopoly, David replied, wiping his hands. The repair isn't difficult if you understand fundamental principles. How long will this hold? The graphite-infused sealant should maintain integrity for approximately 3 weeks under normal conditions. More than enough time to schedule proper service. Just remember to keep output below 70%. Marcus extended his hand. Thank you. Sincerely. David accepted the handshake, expression composed. You're welcome. I'd like to understand more about how you did this and about your situation. Perhaps we could continue this conversation somewhere more comfortable. I appreciate the invitation, but please, Marcus interrupted. At minimum, I owe you proper compensation. And frankly, after what Dr. Chen said, I have about 1,000 questions. Reynolds approached. Mr. Sterling, your investor meeting is in 90 minutes. Come to the meeting with me, Marcus suggested suddenly. These investors are backing a new thermal regulation system for quantum computing. Your insights would be invaluable. I'm hardly dressed for an investor meeting. Marcus checked his watch. We have time to fix that. Reynolds, call Bespoke on 5th Avenue. Tell them we need their best available in David's size, ready in 30 minutes. That's not necessary. Consider it part of your payment. Plus, I want to see investors' faces when I tell them who really fixed the unfixable problem. David allowed himself a genuine smile. That might be worth seeing. The transformation was remarkable. In Bespoke's private dressing room, David emerged looking entirely different. The tailored charcoal suit fit perfectly, emphasizing his athletic build. His beard professionally trimmed, hairstyled. He projected authority that drew respectful glances from store staff. Now you look the part of the brilliant engineer you are. Marcus nodded approvingly. Appearances are deceptive. That's rather the point of this whole experience, isn't it? During the ride to Nexus Innovations headquarters, Marcus scrolled through his tablet. I've had my assistant research your background. MIT, top of class. 3 patents before graduation. Led thermal engineer at Space Tech by 26. Consultant to Aerotech at 29. Then nothing. You disappeared completely 3 years ago. The Aerotech incident. You mentioned false accusations. I was the convenient scapegoat. Investigation eventually proved management had overridden our safety protocols to meet arbitrary deadline. But by then, damage was done. But surely other companies would have hired you. When you're accused of costing a company millions, other doors close quickly. Add racial profiling, strategic rumors about difficult personality, and suddenly no one returns your calls. That doesn't explain 3 years of homelessness. Depression, depleted savings, and a system designed to keep people down once they fall. Do you know how hard it is to get hired when you have no address, no phone, when your clothes are worn? The same credentials that impressed you get labeled as suspicious when you're homeless. At Nexus Innovations headquarters, employees stopped to stare at the commanding stranger beside Marcus. Marcus, this is Sophia Reyes, our CTO. Marcus said as an elegant woman approached. "Sophia, meet David Thompson." Recognition flashed immediately. "The David Thompson from Space Tech. Your work on quantum therma regulation was revolutionary." Marcus just saved my quantum apex with an improvised repair the manufacturer claimed was impossible. Sophia's eyes widened. "You fixed the secondary cooling loop issue in the field. With what equipment?" "Pencil lead and emergency sealant," David replied calmly. Sophia burst into delighted laughter. "That's brilliant. The graphite nanoparticles would create exactly the right molecular bond. Why didn't we think of that?" In the conference room, conversations quieted as a dozen investors turned to assess the newcomer. "Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I'd like to introduce a special guest. This is David Thompson, original inventor of the quantum thrust cooling system that revolutionized aerospace engineering 5 years ago, and the man who just saved my supposedly unrepairable car with pencil lead and ingenuity." As Nexus Innovations' team presented their new thermal regulation system, David listened attentively, occasionally making notes. When invited to comment, he spoke for precisely 7 minutes, identifying 3 critical flaws, proposing elegant solutions, and sketching modifications that would increase efficiency by 34% while reducing manufacturing costs. The room fell silent, then erupted in questions. 2 hours later, as investors filed out having committed to increased funding, Marcus closed the door and turned to David with undisguised admiration. "That was extraordinary. You didn't just improve our design, you transformed it. Sophia says your modifications will put us years ahead of competition." "Your team laid solid foundation. I merely built upon it. As promised, I'm prepared to offer you a consulting position. Name your price." David considered thoughtfully. "I appreciate that, but I'm not sure a consulting role is what I need right now." "Then, full position, Director of Engineering, complete creative control. It's not about title or control. It's about addressing the larger issue. How many other brilliant minds are overlooked because of circumstances beyond their control?" David leaned forward. "In the shelter where I volunteer, I've met former medical researchers, software developers, mechanical engineers, all struggling with the same systemic barriers that kept me on the streets. You're suggesting something larger than just hiring you." "I am." David pulled out folded papers from his pocket, worn, creased pages covered with precise technical drawings. "These are patents I've developed over the past 3 years, sketched on discarded newspapers in the library. Solutions to problems your industry hasn't properly identified yet." Marcus examined the pages with growing astonishment. "These are revolutionary, especially this cooling system for quantum neural networks. I had a lot of time to think. But imagine what could have been developed if I had proper resources. Now multiply that by all the other talented people being wasted by prejudice and systemic barriers." "What are you proposing?" "An innovation center, not just for technology development, but for talent recovery. A place that identifies overlooked brilliance and provides support necessary to nurture it, regardless of background, appearance, or circumstance." "You want me to fund this center?" "I want us to build it together. My technical expertise and lived experience combined with your resources and industry connections. These patents alone would fund the initial phase." Marcus studied him with new respect. "Not revenge, not even personal redemption. You want systemic change." "Exactly. The tragedy isn't that I was homeless. It's that society wasted my potential for 3 years and continues to waste the potential of countless others." Marcus extended his hand. "David Thompson, I believe you've just found yourself a partner. The patents David H. it developed while homeless, sketched on discarded newspapers, were worth more than the hypercar he had just fixed. But their true value lay in the transformation they would spark in an industry that had nearly lost one of its greatest minds. Brilliance appears in unexpected places, often dismissed or overlooked based on superficial judgments. The true measure of society isn't in the success of those already privileged, but in our ability to recognize and nurture genius wherever it exists. This story isn't just about David and Marcus. It's about the potential you may be overlooking in others, or that others may be overlooking in you. The next world-changing idea might come from the person society has taught you to ignore,